The day I quit my job, I got pregnant. So I joke that I became a mom and an entrepreneur on the same day. I was wasting time in the places that weren't making me money. And the hiccups happened when all of a sudden you have to pay people on your team or pay your own rent.
So many people get stuck stepping in how pies. And the how pies are like all the stuff you do, and you do all over yourself.
The mom guilt and the feeling that I needed to start a business and it was important to my ability to be a good parent and to grow good people to show them that doing what you love is financially viable. How do I grow a business where I make twice as much in half amount of time, where I leverage everybody in my team to do exactly what they're great at, so I only have to spend time doing exactly what I'm great at?
All right, my next guest, I'm really excited. I met her through a mutual friend, and she is an absolute bundle of energy. So if you've ever wanted to have it all, like be a great parent and be able to build and grow a business and be able to make a big difference by growing an awesome team, creating a movement, and really motivating people to make a big difference, well, you're going to love Dani Malstaff. So Dana, it's great to have you here today.
Thank you. It's so funny because so many other people like yourself are also parents growing amazing businesses. I just happen to build my brand around it. So I always want to say, like, I'm not the only one. There's so many people. But we can talk about me today if you like.
Yeah, we're going to talk about you because I think the big thing that I wanted to get at, because a huge part of what you're going to be sharing at the Promote and Profit event is how you build teams, how you create community, and then obviously how you monetize it as well. And you know, we talk about how to use books, how to use speaking, how to use coaching, consulting, advising, all those things combined to create a movement as well. So I think the proper place to start, if people haven't ever heard of you before, is what's your background and why are you so good at building community?
Yeah, sure. So back in the day when I used to get up in the morning and put on a suit and go to a proper job with an office and all that fun stuff, my role was actually to go into organizations and help create engaging programs for their employees, to reinvigorate the engagement of their employees, to help with productivity, with absenteeism, with all those fun jargony wellnessy words that we like to use in companies. I was introduced to a mentor who is amazing, and his job as a consultant, he's the one that got in my brain that I wanted to start my own business. His job as a consultant was he would go into organizations like the one I worked for that was growing, and he would basically bring in all different parts of the value chain and assess where the culture was going and do this amazing facilitation of culture. And the company I worked for was, in the top 3 for I think 5 years running of best places to work in Columbus, Ohio. And so I started to get really interested in this culture component. And I started to study behavioral economics, behavioral psychology, emotional intelligence, all of those things. It was just so interesting to watch all these different facets of this organization as it was doubling in size every 6 months, basically, and how that was changing the dynamics of how people were interacting with each other. Well, it was, when I left that organization, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go in and consult and help big companies shift their culture. Of course, I ended up getting pregnant and getting into many other different things. But the thing that I realized in online communities is that the culture that we build within organizations is just as important in online communities. And that what you decide your culture is, which is the movement that you're starting, like what you decide you stand for and you want people to stand for around you, and what is allowed and not allowed, and what you celebrate and what you support and what you cry about and laugh about, those things are so massively important to how your brand is perceived and how people band behind you and how quickly you grow. And once that started getting in my brain, and then we launched Boss Mom, we just went full force. And now we're becoming quite known for the community that we've created, which is its own ecosystem, to be honest.
All right, so that leads me to the next question, which is where was your first big breakthrough? So you started this thing on a hope and a prayer, but I assume, like any entrepreneur, you had all your struggles. You found out really fast that you need two big things, which is money and customers, and you can't have one without the other one, and you run out of both fast. So
You do, don't you?
yeah, that good old, as you know, depending on how you look at it, it's either the gift or the grind.
Yeah. Okay. Well, challenges all day, every day. The day I quit my job, I got pregnant. So I joke that I became a mom and an entrepreneur on the same day. And figuring out just how to be good or okay with either of those and not knowing anything about either of those was a challenge unto itself. So being new at anything is the scary part, and then diving in and not knowing if you're doing it right or wrong because you don't know what you're doing. That's why people work with people like me and people like you, because you latch on to communities and you latch on to people that you trust that they understand how to do what they're doing. So that was something that I didn't learn quick enough. I think everybody, when they start out, are probably just like I was, where I was like, I am an island and I'm so proud of it and I'm going to do everything myself and I know how to make images and I know how to, do my own video editing and I know how to do all of these things. And the challenge is you're probably only nominally good at most of those things. And so a lot of my hiccups were the fact that I wasn't spending my time in the places that made me money. I was wasting my time in the places that I should have hired somebody quickly that would have cost me a little more money, but would have also motivated me to make the money necessary so that I was only spending my time in money-making tasks. So I think most of the challenges and hiccups that I found were that I was wasting time in the places that weren't making me money. And the hiccups happened when all of a sudden you have to pay people on your team or pay your own rent or this is the catalyst, if you want to know, for all the moms out there. We went years back, sat down with our tax guy, and he looked at me and he said, Dana, next year, if your business isn't making enough money, then we're going to have to talk about whether it makes more sense to take the kids out of daycare and for you to be a stay-at-home mom. And I was like, oh, no, you didn't just say that. And the next year we walked in and I was multi-six figures. And I was like, thank you, tax guy. Thank you, tax guy, because you saying that lit a fire under me that I can't even explain to you how all I wanted to do all year was come back here and slap my tax papers in front of you and go, nobody tells me whether I get to have my own business or not. And nobody tells me what I do with my children and where I put my money. So that was that moment for me.
It's good. Yeah. Well, as what it reminds me of is I've got this saying I've been telling everyone about, which is so many people get stuck stepping in how pies. And the how pies are like all the stuff you do, and you do all over yourself. So, so maybe just to illustrate this a little bit for someone, how's your business model work? Where's the money in the business, and how did you figure out your market in the first place?
Well, so it's an interesting thing. One is why I think events like what you're putting on are so important is because I can literally trace back all of the important connections that I have made that have led to big leaps in my business to physical events. So I got invited to Hal Elrod's Best Year Ever Blueprint, which is every year in November, and on a free ticket, and I went. And I ended up meeting several people there who we started a mastermind together. One of those was Azul Toronas, who then, helped with Pat Flynn's last book, Will It Fly? And so he said, hey, does anybody want to write a book? I said, I've always wanted to write a book. I thought I was going to write a book on content strategy because that's what my business was. And so I've had my business for several years before Boss Mom, and it was making money, but a relative struggle because it had no brand. It just had services I was trying to sell. And we sat down and mapped it out. And what came out of it was that the mom guilt and the feeling that I needed to start a business, and it was important to my ability to be a good parent and to grow good people, to show them that doing what you love is financially viable. That you don't have to go out and get a job so you can make money so you can do things that you love. That's not what I wanted. So that is how Boss Mom was born. And when I went out to the community and asked, that's when people were like, oh my gosh, you have to make this. And so what's interesting is I had already had the products and services, which is I make money off of creating coursework. My first dollar I ever made was making a course for Udemy and selling it on how to create infographics. That started generating revenue. And then the company that I was showing them how to use the tool for contacted me and started partnering with me and paying me to do webinars with them. And then Skillshare contacted me and said, we want you to put your course on ours. So I started making money there. So I had already generated income before I ever had clients off making coursework, small coursework. From there, that's when I started to bring on one-on-one clients on, helping them create their content strategy, helping them build coursework, helping them understand what their free to paid journey was to free to paid content, all of that kind of stuff. And from there, then I decided I'm going to launch my group program. So I launched the Boss Mom Academy and started my first group program. And after a year of that, I had gathered all the information I needed and we launched Raising Your Business, which is my signature course. And then in between there, we decided to do the Boss Mom Retreat, which is our annual big event. We have Boss Mom Minis, which is our one-day workshops that we do once a month across the nation that then gets people acclimated to me and the brand and pulled into our other content and courses. And then we have the Vault, which is our membership site, which is our low-cost item. And so we've kind of got something in all of the spectrum, and based on where people are, a lot of either through training, through speaking, through webinars, or through calls, I pull people into the community. And then we have a vibrant Facebook group community that's amazing and so engaged. And so there's a lot of referrals going on. If I refer people to other people refer people to me, and it's this big, beautiful sort of symbiotic relationship.
All right. So the net then is it isn't one thing, but it evolved, and it really started with something small, and that got your message going, created some traffic, and really you had someone essentially become an ambassador and an endorser of your work, which was a real business with a real product. So that's pretty brilliant. So right now, what's your current best strategy for getting attention and building an audience? If you had to isolate one in particular that you can look at and go, bam, that thing just makes a big difference, and it starts elevating and escalating throughout my escalation path.
I have to say my podcast and getting interviewed on podcasts is the number one driver for me. I'm a big personality. I'm a broadcast journalism major. I did my internship at a radio station. So I like to talk, and I like to talk into a microphone. And the very first thing I did when my book came out, through almost 3 years ago, I guess. So we launched Boss Mom with the Boss Mom book. I wish I would have known you when I had done that. And the very first person in my business that I hired was somebody to go out 2 hours a week and pitch me to podcasts. And that just started to, and then everywhere I went, my entire goal was I'm going to meet people with podcasts, I'm going to get on their podcasts, and they're going to introduce me to other people. And then as that snowballed, then I hired an agency to then start getting me out and getting me onto podcasts. Having my own podcast allowed me to invite bigger names on and create relationships with those people. Now I go around and I'm, and on panels and speaking about podcasting and monetizing and all those things. But the relationships I've built from that particular kind of platform have been invaluable to my business. I can trace back just how much money I have made from being on very specific people's podcasts that has been exponentially financially awesome in my business.
That's great. That's great. Well, I think that's, now that unquestionably, like I just finished doing one of our events, we call it Celebrity Boot Camp. That's where we media train people and they walk out with a media kit, we teach them how to be comfortable on camera, and they have an infomercial and all that. But nowadays, TV is still a legitimizer, but it's not a great way to build an audience, not like podcasts, because it's such a great isolated audience that you're getting in front of, and you really can build that momentum. It's phenomenal. So congratulations on that, and that just makes a ton of sense. So let's talk next about mindset, which is how have you evolved or changed personally and professionally? Like, again, looking back, if you could enter into a time machine from you just started and say, okay, if I would have known this when I knew that, and if I could just bypass some of the growth that was really just ignorance, pain, and stubbornness as opposed to wisdom, what would you say has been your natural evolutionary path?
Yeah, definitely a lot of stubbornness. I think we all have a lot of things we don't want to let go of. But from a mindset standpoint, I think the evolution that I took, which is probably similar to a lot of people, is I rejoiced. I sort of wore a badge of honor of the hustle in the very beginning. Like, I'm a hard worker. I work when my kids go to sleep, and I work on the weekends because I'm building a business. And it was this sense of pride of work, of being busy, quote unquote busy. And that's what I thought. Like, in the very beginning of starting my business, if I just work, then I'm going to be successful. And the evolution of my mindset was thinking that the hustle was what made businesses. Then it shifted to understanding that, wait, hustling isn't bad, but I need to hustle listening to the right people. And that's when I started to have to make some decisions about who I trusted. And something I tell everybody is, in the world of podcasts and videos and, getting emails from everybody about really great resources and tools, you are only allowed to pick one person you trust for different avenues of your business. Like, if they're going to come to you and trust you to make them a celebrity, trust you to help them publish their book, trust you to show them how to speak and how to do all those things, they can't go listening to 5 other podcasts that muddle their brain with the possibilities. They need to pick the mentor, and they need to go with the mentor. And that's what my dad used to say in sales. He used to say, you follow the script. You follow the script. And until you've mastered the script, you're not allowed to alter the script like that. And so I think that mindset that listening to everybody isn't helpful. I have to decide who I'm going to listen to and then follow them with absolute passion until it is time for us to separate and for me to move on. So that mindset, and then the money mindset came next, where I was sort of stuck at $8,000 a month and going, why can I just not get past this? And that all of a sudden, that one moment, and I remember having a coach at the time where I had opened and closed my group coaching program and had hit 90% my goal. And of course, I did what everybody does. My brain went to, what's the next thing I can do then to make money? And he turned to me and he's like, no, you have this thing. It works really well. Just don't close it. Just open it back up. Make it evergreen. Just sell it all the time. Why are you not selling this all the time? I was like, I can't do that. I told everybody it was going to open and shut. He's like, it's your business. You can do whatever you want in your business. You can sell whatever you want in your business. Just open it up. And I reopened it up, and I sold another $37,000 within the next 45 days into the program. And I think that one shift you get where you're like, oh, I just make more money by not doing a million things, but continuing to refine the thing I'm doing. And that's when my brain started shifting there. And then the last final step was, well, then how do I grow a business where I'm the actual CEO? How do I grow a business where I make twice as much in half amount of time, where I leverage everybody in my team to do exactly what they're great at, so I only have to spend time doing exactly what I'm great at, and really growing a business that is a business so that I can truly call myself an entrepreneur instead of a solopreneur.
That is very, very good. And it really comes down to moving forward. I was going to ask you, so what are you going to share at Promote and Profit? Because I know a huge part of your next evolution, your growth, and where your power really is in team building, creating teams, finding and hiring, and building really good, affordable, outsourced teams that work together. Is that one of the big things that you're going to be sharing?
Yeah, and systems, the way that our businesses are run. I think that this is the thing. We there's a lot of courses that we all take and that say just do these 3 steps. And we want to do those 3 steps, and they're great steps, and they're so helpful because we have to distill things down as teachers into tangible bites. But running a business is complex. There is just no way around it. If you're in an online business, there's multiple tools you need to use in order to be able to sell things. There's the way that you structure your products and services. There's different parts. And so in order to really be able to run a sustainable business and grow that business, you're going to have to figure out how you're systematizing the way your business works. So that's systematizing the way that you run your products, the way that you deliver customer service, the way that you grow and get promotion, the way that you decide how you're going to work with people and who's going to manage those things, because you can't grow a business where you're running your email, running your calendar, building your programs, developing your programs, recording your programs, all of those things. So what we're definitely going to dig into is what are the steps you start at depending on where you're at in your business to understand where you go next, who you need next, and what you need to systematize next so that you can actually grow your business in income without spending more time in your business, just you.
Absolutely fabulous. I can't imagine anyone who doesn't need that. And when I talk to people who've been in business, whether it's 10 or 15 years, I mean, that's always the next hump. It's like, what's your biggest challenge? It's getting customers. And really, in order to get customers, you got to have the right team, the right people, and you got to offload. And as you had mentioned earlier, it really comes down to focusing on what you're great at and figuring out what your team is great at and filling in those gaps. So I am super, super excited to see you there. So is there anything else that you want to talk about in terms of what you would say to your audience or someone else's audience about the power of events? And, you already mentioned it at the very beginning, but there's anything else that you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would say that I only put my money in places right now in my business that I can, within 2 steps, lead it to how it's going to make me money. Going to an event that actually shows you how to promote yourself, how to build the programs that are going to be sellable, how to create a movement, a persona, and a brand that is going to be something people get excited about. That is the only one step away from exactly what you need to make money in your business. So if you're thinking about places to go to the places that you can easily link that will actually help you make business or make money in your business. And that's why I love this event, because you've got it all bundled into one. So I would highly recommend it to anybody that's on the fence.
All right, thank you. So I think the way I'll wrap this segment up, besides saying thank you, I can't wait to see you. And the next thing is for you, if you're watching right now, the best place to get started, there's a graphic below me on where to go, but the shortcut is just yen.tv/promote and profit. And there you can find out who the other speakers are. We've got an unbelievable lineup, including Dave Asprey from Bulletproof Coffee. We have JJ Virgin coming. We have Bedros Keuilian. We've got... let's see. Hal Elrod is going to be speaking. Yeah. And also, I don't know if you know Benjamin Hardy, who is the #1 writer on Medium.com. He's got a crazy cool model for building an audience using blogging, which we all thought was dead. Well, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us did. But the lineup of practical, tactical, implementable, easy to do things that don't require a gigantic team are all lined up for you. Plus the networking is going to be off the hook. And we've got a whole crazy bonus package you get that's worth over $5,000 when you register. So, real programs and products that I'm currently selling. So you're getting a huge bundle when you register. So, Dana, I really appreciate you being with me here today, and I can't wait to see you at the event.